Today I'm going to give you guys an inside look at what my second training with this dog, Gideon, who is a board and train client, looks like. And that shaking of the camera right there at first was him jumping all over me and the camera because he's super pumped. So something to keep in mind as you're watching this is just a totally unedited clip. I'm just putting the whole thing up here. And I've only worked with this dog once before, and that was mostly with toys. So right now I'm kind of getting a feel for how he does luring with food, and he's super food motivated, super happy. A little rude, you know, he rushes into my space or jumps on me a lot. That's okay. I like the enthusiasm, and I don't want to kill that enthusiasm and effort. I would rather build that into something constructive. Yeah, so there I am. Whenever I'm raising my hand up like that, I'm holding out for his butt to hit the ground. Yeah, and whenever he does, I let go of that treat. Now I'm just working on being able to turn him different directions. I want him to follow that food no matter where it goes, and to worry less about where I am or how he can get to it than can I follow it, and that leads to getting it. So he lays down well. You know, I don't know if this dog's had some prior training. I know he's highly motivated, but if I had to guess, he's done a little bit of training before because he really seems to have this innate understanding of what I'm shooting for. Either way, what I do is the same. You know, I'm just going to get a feel for him, what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he's comfortable with and uncomfortable with, and how I can help to motivate him further. Now this is kind of important. So right here I'm going to do a couple tricks with him, and then you're going to see he just kind of runs away. Like he just goes to the other side of the room. I think he looked out a window behind the camera. You know, he gets distracted easily. Not a big deal. I can call him right back like that. And he did great. Yeah, and he just jumps right back into being enthusiastic. But it's something I want to keep in mind for the future. For whatever, he come to us through a rescue, so for whatever home he ends up with, I want him to be able to work even around distractions with them or whatever home he eventually gets adopted by. Yeah, see, I love that enthusiasm. Yeah. He does little spins and stuff like that. I believe right here I'm using some hot dog, I believe. Either way, you know, I'm first working with dogs. I really like to use high value food rewards. And what I mean when I say high value is I mean like real food. So I love using, with him I'm using hot dog. Usually I start out with like cheese or something like that. But either way, it's like real food. I don't use a lot of store-bought treats in my training. I do have them around my home in little jars ready to reward my dogs whenever they give me great behaviors. Those are just, you know, they keep well, so they're convenient to put up in different places around my house. But when I'm training a dog, like when I really want to work on something, I want to pay them well for it. So I always tell my clients, I always think of food rewards as money, right? So real food like cheese, chicken, hot dogs, stuff like that. That's like a dollar bill. Store-bought treats are more like a quarter, and then their dog food's like a penny. Now my little dog Cooper, I'll use his dog food for stuff, especially for training in the house. But if I'm teaching any dog something brand new, something they've never done before, I want to pay them well. So I try to use real food as long as it's safe for them. I try to use that. So here I'm trying to lure Gideon between my legs, and this is a trick I really like to use because it warms them up to the idea of being inside my space but working inside my space. So I really want to get him comfortable with like being between my legs, being in different places like that, but working while he's doing it. Like it wouldn't be the same if he were just running between my legs while I'm, you know, I'm talking as if I'm the owner here. If I'm like cooking supper and he's like running between my legs, that's not going to work. But right now in training, I want to get him close. I want to get him comfortable being in my space so that we can begin to work. Whenever we take him out in public and things like that, I want him to be super comfortable being in my space as opposed to other people's space. And here we just keep going. Right now I'm trying to teach him a little trick called touch. And if you've been following me for very long, you probably know this is usually the first thing I try to teach every dog. All I want him to do is touch his nose to my hand. Now when he touches his nose to my hand, I mark that by saying yes, and then I reach to get a treat. Yeah, so right there he followed my hand all the way around me, and then I said yes, and now I'm getting the treat. And remember that important thing about that marker, that way I'm saying yes like that, that allows me to tell him he did the right thing, but still have a delay between when I get the treat. So I think it's good for a variety of reasons. It's just a good training principle to understand. But with my in-home clients, I like to give people the idea that, okay, if you have worked on this, if you have been training your dog, if you have taught them that yes means payment is coming and that you just did the right thing, and you don't have a treat bag on your side or whatever, which most people don't, it gives you some time. You're able to say yes and then go get a treat. Now, I'm going to encourage anybody listening to this, anybody who's willing to really take their dog to the next level, keep some treats on you. Keep a couple store-boughts in your back pocket, or get you a food, a bag that you can hang on your side. Those are all great things. I want to encourage you to do those things, but the reality is that most of my clients don't or won't have those. So I like to get the point across that that's okay. I want to encourage you to do better, but if you don't have it, but your dog understands what yes means and that payment is coming, that allows you the time that you need to get that. So here I went and got a toy. Now Gideon's very toy motivated, which I absolutely love. Anytime, well, I shouldn't say anytime, but I would venture to say over 90% of the time, any training you see online, social media, anything like that, where dogs are doing something really fast, flashy, really pretty to look at, it's probably come about because of toy rewards. Dogs just don't get quite as pumped, most dogs don't get quite as pumped for food rewards as they do for toy rewards. Okay, and if it wasn't clear from my little poop emoji there, Gideon decided right now would be a great time to take a bathroom break in the middle of training. I don't make a big deal out of it. I don't fuss at him. I don't do much of anything as far as that goes. What I did do was clean it up thoroughly. Right, so I took paper towels, cleaned up the bulk of it, wiped up any mess that was remaining. I sprayed the area down with enzymatic cleaner, which I'll get to in just a second. And then after wiping that up, then I wiped it down to become dry. Okay, and that's something I would recommend to anybody struggling with potty training issues. If your dog poops or pees inside, make sure to use an enzymatic cleaner. So the reason I specify that is that a lot of my clients, I'll come to them for the first time and they'll say, oh, well, Colby, I'm using Clorox wipes or whatever. I'm using some bleach. Okay, well, that I will admit that takes away the smell that we can smell. But your dog can smell so strongly that they smell layers. They smell their waste, and then they smell the cleaner, the bleach or whatever. So I want to stress to you to use some type of enzymatic cleaner, and the reason is because that the enzymes in those cleaners, they eat away the stuff that your dog can smell. So, like I said, your dog could smell like their waste plus bleach. Well, enzymatic cleaners neutralize that so that they can't smell it, and therefore they're not extra motivated to go back over it, and they don't get comfortable with the smell of their own waste inside. So, here we're still just kind of playing, just having fun. I'm just seeing what he's comfortable with as far as me touching his body. Obviously he's comfortable pretty much everything. He's getting a little overexcited, I would say, but I kind of want to see what that looks like, because his future foster home or his future owner may get him overexcited. I'm sure at some point in his life he'll get overexcited. Well, how does he handle that? Does he bite? Does he use his teeth? Is that how he expresses excitement? Well, I would rather know that so I can pass that on. It's part of my job to know and understand these things and know how to address them and work on them if I can. And it's not something the everyday dog owner knows how to address. But obviously no problems resulted. I think he handled it pretty well. So watch here as we play a little tug, and I hold that toy still until he drops it. And there I asked for like a sit, and then I rewarded by throwing the toy. Anything you see online on social media, anything like that, as far as dog training that is really flashy, that is really fast-paced, that is, just really cool to look at, I would venture to say at least 90% of that stuff came about because of toy rewards rather than food rewards. So like I said, when I'm teaching something, I like to use high-value food, but generally speaking, no amount of food is ever going to be quite as exciting to dogs as a toy would be. And the reason is because whenever we're playing with toys, we're using prey drive, right? So you think of a dog chasing a squirrel or a cat or whatever, that's prey drive. They feel like they're chasing prey, therefore they're extremely motivated to get it. And that's kind of what we use in a constructive way to train these flashy things. And then here, I put up the toy and we went back to food rewards. And I want you to pay attention here. So right there, I waited to reward that sit. Well, here in a second, I'm going to try to do the exact same thing, and he's not going to sit. And eventually, I'm going to end up giving him that food anyway, because this early on in training, I'm not as interested in the sit as the effort he's giving me. I want to reward that effort, that motivation, that tenacity, I guess. See right here, he's still trying, but he's like, dude, I don't get it. I don't get what you want. So here I go ahead and reward him. And I'm not, to be clear, I'm not rewarding him for not sitting, and it's nothing that he actually did. It's the effort. It's that emotion behind it, that drive to keep doing things with me. He didn't get bored. He kept persevering, and I wanted to reward him before it became boring. That's more important right now than technical obedience. Yeah, and there I just keep doing little tricks with him, little spins, keep him in motion, keep him engaged. See how he keeps coming around me, looking for me, like, hey man, what do you want me to do next? How do I get some more of that food? That's great. That's the motivation I want. And if you couldn't tell, I'm a big fan of this dog, man. He is just wonderful, super motivated. He would be a lot for the average pet owner, but I think he has the potential to be an amazing dog. I like that I'm able to encourage him to jump up on me. Now, somebody might be thinking, well, Kobe, I don't want my dog to jump. Okay, well, don't ask him to. I can definitely easily ask him to sit, and he's going to sit. So I don't see a problem with being able to ask him to jump on me and him jumping on me. That's still enthusiasm. It's still a lot of motivation. He's having a good time with me. And I enjoy it. So here I'm kind of experimenting around with how low do I have to get before he will lay down. And you see, at first I was just standing up and pointing down, and he was like, I don't get it. And then I went down a little bit, and he's like, I don't get it. Well, then I went down lower, and he's like, oh, okay. But he didn't want to stay down. So now I'm kind of working him through that. Like, okay, how low do I have to go for you to actually touch your chest to the ground and be fully laid down? Now I'm realizing that he's winding down. He's getting a little tired. So now I'm just like petting on him, loving on him. Hey man, you did great. I really enjoyed my time with you. I can't tell him that in words and him understand, but I can express it through my actions. I can tell him like, man, I really enjoy working with you. So right here, I'm going to start trying for a trick. I guess it's a fairly advanced trick. It's called Say Your Prayers, and we never accomplish it, okay? But the end goal is the dog's butt should remain on the ground, their front paws should go up on my arm, and then they should duck their head so that they look like they're praying. And I really think it's just a cute little trick to teach. People really think it's cool. So right here, watch. He's just going to fly up in the air. Yes. And I'm still going to reward him because he at least got the idea that I'm trying to get his front paws off the ground. I hope you guys have enjoyed this as much as I've enjoyed making it. Thank you so much. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Thank you.